Welcome, Jessica. How's your day?
Good, thanks. Great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Michael, who's one of your founders for Wellstreet, was an investor last year. And this year he's a partner and an investor. Why did you guys decide to become a partner this year? What's in it for you guys?
So I think last year Michael was really impressed by the entrepreneurs and the companies that participated in Break It Shift, and so of course we'd love for Wellstreet to be able to look at those companies as well and potentially be able to invest. We're in the process of preparing our second ventures fund, which is the funds in which we invest in really early stage companies. So it's a perfect fit really for the types of companies in Break It Shift. So that's one of the reasons. Just in general, the applications that you've had were exceptional, and the entrepreneurs we saw were just fantastic. And also we hope to be able to add a little something as well. We want to be able to support them and to share some of the things that we've learned over the years and be able to, help them on their growth journey. So. Yeah, really, really exciting to be sort of more fully in this year.
Yeah, and we are really excited and grateful to have you guys. And one of the investments you did last year was Chew Folk with Wellstreet, one of my favorite chewing gums today. But instead, you guys are an investment company and you invest all year round and have been doing it quite a while. And you have been in the game for a while because you told me about London and so on before. But how do Wellstreet work with bridging the gap between entrepreneurs and investment? Because in Sweden and we did a research with Break It that showed only 0.8% goes to entrepreneurs outside of the city who live in the suburbs. How do Wellstreet work with diversity and trying to invest diverse?
So I think there's sort of three different things. One is you have to sort of not just talk the talk, but walk the walk. So we're probably one of the only investors, I think, that don't have an office in Stureplan and in the center of the city. So it's important for us to actually be visible outside of the city and in other places. And that's one of the reasons why we have the factory in Sollentuna, to just show that there are sort of business centers outside of the city where a lot is happening and where tech and investment can be present. The other thing is also the amount of companies that we meet. So we have quite a low threshold in terms of being accessible to entrepreneurs. We try to meet as many as we can. Even the entrepreneurs that we turn down, we try to tell them why and give them as much advice as possible so that they can go and raise capital. We also make a lot of the content and the things that we do for our companies available. So also a good example is the Google Launchpad program that we have in partnership with Google for Startups. We always invite companies to apply to join alongside our companies so they can benefit from that content and from the knowledge that we share throughout those sessions. So it's a mixture of those things, but I think being accessible and making our resources and network accessible as much as possible.
And actually walking the walk.
Yeah.
Great. But what's your best tips for entrepreneurs who are looking for venture capital, who just are at that point where they want to take in investments?
For the first time?
Exactly, for the first time. And they don't know how to go this, like a long walk, really, but it's a very complicated walk.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the key thing is when you go out to raise capital is not to have raising capital as your goal, but building the business as your goal and really seeing the capital as one way to go about that. I think a lot of entrepreneurs see raising capital as the end goal. And actually what we saw a lot in the entrepreneurs in Break It Shift is that actually their primary goal is just to build a business. And they really have a really strong mindset. They're business people before they're sort of tech and startup-y people, if you see what I mean, which is something that we really appreciate. So I think that's really the key. And then just making sure, that you have a business proposal that's not just focused on what the product is as if you were pitching to a customer, but really thinking about it from an investment perspective. And I think that's a big mistake that entrepreneurs who haven't raised capital before can sometimes make. So I would say focus on that. And then start with the networks that you know. I think sometimes entrepreneurs don't realize that actually they know a lot of people and have access to capital. It might just not be, the VC that they've seen in the newspaper, but actually they have more networks than they think they do. So it's sort of starting where you know and sort of expanding from there.
But how can you create a network? Let's say entrepreneurs who don't have family and friends in their immediate network who can provide them with capital. What's your best tip to create a network?
I think one of the best ways is really to make use of a lot of the things that are accessible in Stockholm. Like there is a lot of support for entrepreneurs. I think maybe some of those centers that have, you know, the incubation or the acceleration centers are maybe not so good at getting the word out there about the resources that are available. And I think that's one of the things that Break It Shift can actually change. But the idea is to really look for those centers where there's a lot of free information and access, and start to really buy into those. You know, go to the events as much as possible, whether it's digital or physical, and really start to meet people and talk to people as much as possible about your business, you know, as much as you can. And then, you know, ask for introductions with anyone you meet. You know, go to the events, meet other entrepreneurs as well is a really good start. You know, they actually help each other out a lot more than you might think. So I think reach out to other people like you, find out how they raise capital, learn from their journeys, and go from there. So that's another really good thing, is like having all of those companies come together and learn from each other.
Great tips, really. Thank you, Jessica, for joining us today, and Wellstreet for being a partner.
Great, thank you so much. Thanks.